How's everyone?
Good.
Foggy. I was binging The Expanse too late last night again. That's like the third night in a row.
Which season is that?
I'm up to... I think I just finished season 3 last night. I'm not even sure.
That's after they entered the portals.
Yeah, The Ring.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. And then all the new ones just popped up, and that's kind of where I left off. But 2 a.m. I just didn't. I mean, I had another episode in me, but I knew I had to be something of a responsible adult today. Man, that show is good.
It is. I kind of lost interest after they stopped talking about the proto molecule, though.
Yeah,
it's like a lot more into politics rather than action in the later seasons.
Then that means they're world building for something bigger.
Probably, yeah. But it's one of those sci-fi series that actually do it pretty well. The physics in that show is pretty damn accurate based on the reviews I've seen of nerds talking about how they portray sci-fi shows. And they all give it a thumbs up. Yeah.
I've been scrutinizing it too. I'm a sci-fi junkie for that stuff.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most accurate fictions I've ever seen, especially when it comes to physics and other things like that.
Yeah. I think the game that is closest to what I've always liked about sci-fi space games has always been Homeworld. So they're going to release Homeworld 3 in December next year. That has been a long time favorite of mine since they released Homeworld 1.
Did you ever play the original Descent?
Descent, yes, of
the
course.
Original. Oh God, man, that was when I was in the Navy. That game was like that. Command and Conquer, Red Alert, and World of Warcraft, Tides of Darkness. We land the whole barracks in. We were playing those 3 games like mad, man.
We played,
man, that full 3D environment and control. Oh man, that was just awesome for this day.
Yeah, I know the guys from the studio. It used to be, I think they were either Interplay or Parallax. Those guys basically were my heroes when I met them when I was still in the doing the conference circles back in the day. And really nice. I mean, I think that was around the time of Descent 2, Descent 3. So I think it was like 90, 98, 97, one of those years.
Yeah, I think it was late 97.
Yeah. But yeah, I think all the old school games are coming out with remasters or different, like a polished version. Like Dune is coming out with a new game as well.
I actually, good evening all. I actually saw speaking of those remastered, I saw a game, you probably saw it, guys. It was absolutely freaking hilarious today. I saw some game with a rabbit, and it looks pretty shit. And it looks like it's been around for some period of time, and they've just basically launched it. And I think it's a Binance Smart Chain one that's just come out, and some dudes walked in and said, come into the chat room and said, we want better than this. We deserve better than this. It's not all just about the money. And then someone wrote, shut up, man. And everyone's like, the shut up, man. He goes, right, I'll just quietly slink away and let you play your crap game. But it was it's very funny that people are actually starting to. He's demanded that, and everyone said, we don't care about the game, we care about the money. I'm actually surprised anyone's here on a few days before Christmas. What's Siege Train doing?
They want Alpha as presents, Benny.
Trying to read back to see if there's any questions.
Quite a few YGG guys asking us for donations. We have made a contribution to that as well through RFOX Labs, haven't we, Ben?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We sure have. All right, I'll skip that. I won't go back any further. I also got asked just before we start, I think, is the wonderful Piyush here as well?
Hey, Benny. Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Hello, good evening. I was just saying that I'll tell the guys that next week we won't have one of these, but what we'll do is I'll still be around for those of you who are lost, confused, I'm sure. Pete, I think you'll be around, not sure, Fadz, but we can do a DGen call. But this will be the last RFOX one. Okay. So there's a huge divide amongst gamers, play to earn and play to game. It's a shame. Yeah, I think that one of the things that we are seeing, Artes, I actually started writing a blog on this and never ended up finishing it. But I was talking about, we noticed the same culture creeping in from the chains. So when you've got the platforms and the chains, and you had, Ethereum maximalists and Solana, DOT, and all the rest of it. Now you've definitely got the same thing with the different types of play to earn and gamers. It's kind of weird. I think when you've got tokens and money involved, you attract that tribalism, right? It is weird that it's divided. Like the thing that we've always said, and we copped a lot of garbage for it, but the thing that we've always said is that we should be working together at this point. It's all about adoption, and it's all about getting users and people in. And it is frustrating as well. I think that the way that the games have come in, some of the things that they use, the tactics to try and get people on as well, super below board. But I think that's the problem with the industry as well. The industry recognises people who bring in tons of bots into channels. Like Pete, for someone like you who's been sniffing around the traps for a little bit now, and you've got a good understanding of it, how did you find that compared to conventional industries? The
blockchain?
fucking spam. The what?
The blockchain or industry versus other industries?
Yeah, like what I mean by like the amount of puff and huff and hot air and bots and spam scammers and all the rest of it. It's pretty bad here.
A lot more than traditional. I mean, traditional ones you get like trolls, you get the usual stuff, but they're all generally human. Here it's all like on steroids.
Actually, Benny, I come from media industry, right? And I see a lot of it there also. When these trailers get released, for example, for movies on YouTube, and they're talking about how many billions of views they've got, a lot of it is just spam and bots. It's all huff and puff, like you mentioned.
The problem is that it's encouraged, that if you actually push that type of behavior and you push those types of numbers, even if it's all fake. I saw a channel open up earlier today and someone said, have a look at this. And they were literally growing from 20, 30 to 1,000 to 6,000, 7,000. I think they're up to 35,000 the last I checked. And I thought to myself, this is just like rubbish. Like, who falls for this stuff? In the spirit of end of year, Benny, Fadz and Pete, what would you say was your biggest professional achievement this year? Cool. Pete and Fadz, you can start if you like. That's a great question, madame.
I think I would have to say...
I just give a date.
Just give a date.
A date.
It was 1 minute before April Fool's Day.
Oh, yeah. Overwatch and the banana.
There you go. There you go. That's good. What about you, Fadz?
I would say it's definitely being able to build a team that will be able to launch our products successfully, right? So we started off with just 2 people in February, and we ended up with 13 at the end of the year. We have a game. We have 3 NFT collections. So next year is going to be a big year for us, but it did take quite a bit of work to put all the pieces together. That's definitely, I think, at the top of my list for professional achievements.
And for me, I would say it's about assembling the team for sure that we've got now. But ultimately, if it was on a personal level, I would say that the thing that I think is the biggest achievement from my perspective, and I think King of Cogs, you're here as well. Be interesting to hear you as well. But and Piyush. But I would say that my biggest personal professional achievement would be helping to navigate our way through what's been COVID ravaged, up and down markets, multiple products, building a massive team. It's been challenging, long hours, very, very hard, but I wouldn't swap a minute for it because I've got a group of rascals that are sharing the same vision, and I think it's just it's very, very motivational to see that you've built a team of people around you that sort of, you can't be up every single day, but someone's always up, and we're always headed towards the same end goal. So I think it's really great to have that motivation around you and have those people around you believing in the vision and coming up with new ideas and working out how to do that. And I think that's sort of, sometimes you could step back and sort of think, wow, look at what we've built together. It's going to be huge once all the tools are in place. So yeah, I think navigating the group through the rough waters. What about you, King of Cogs? Or he's on the spot.
Sorry, Benny, are you waiting for me?
You can go. Yep.
Hey, listen, I stopped my life and my career midway in its tracks and I entered the metaverse. That's not half bad for an achievement, right?
100%. It's a big move as well. That's the thing that people don't also understand, mate, is coming from, the legacy industries, coming into this space, into such a huge project, and then us saying, market it. It's not easy. It's a big transition, mate.
Piyush, I would have thought that you would say, swapping $30 worth of RFOX and spending $100 on gas.
I didn't do that, very funnily enough, when I
That
started.
would be an achievement, right?
I was on a call with Pete and he was asking me if I've bought any RFOX yet. And I was like, hey, listen, I tried yesterday to do something. And it was asking me for fucking $100 worth of ETH. And I was like, but that doesn't make any sense. So I went back to Pete and saying, hey, listen, am I doing something wrong or am I supposed to be looking at it differently? And this was like in my early days of joining RFOX. But that my achievement was not wasting that $100 on ETH and instead going to Binance and buying it there smartly, right? So something I learned from Pete that day.
That's good. That's a story we all fall for. Season's greetings to all. Benny, do we need to provide our ETH address into the COG site to receive choob staking payouts in the new year, or will this be paid into RFOX ID account? Pete?
Yeah, I actually answered that already. It will be paid in the same account as your tubes.
There you go.
Whichever account you stake your tubes from.
Fadz or anyone in the know, have you heard any gossip on WoW, Blizzard, Metaverse, maybe an RFOX opportunity?
All those big companies like EA, Activision, they're definitely looking at NFTs, but there are some companies who have tried that model or hybrid model, and there has been a strong pushback in terms of from their player base. So I'm sure if you look around in some of the news articles, the NFT business model has to be natural to the game and not just something they throw in as a novelty. I think that upsets players. So there has to be a bit of thought into it and not just have it as a gimmick. So I think that's why the players were quite angry. But there's no way that these big companies are not looking at it, because that's, like I mentioned before, they need to adapt to where the market is going. And if the next 10 million players are playing play-to-earn games, and the pool of people who are playing their console games or their online games or subscription games is drying up, they will have to pivot to that model. So I think we do have quite a bit of time to establish ourselves before these big players come in. But make no mistake, when they start to roll out NFTs, it is going to be similar to the likes of how Nike does it, right? It could be through acquisitions, and it could be through very, very intense marketing to their communities and player base.
Hey, Benny, we spoke about the Pepsi NFT launched last week, and here we are after the Adidas have launched their first NFT, another absolute shit show. Reebok feeling good now, I bet. What's your take on their launch? No mention of utility just yet, but a collaboration on some future clothing with BAYC, Punk's comic, G Money, which will be given to free for the holders. 0.2 of an ETH sale price, however. Is that the direction you think most of the big brands will head? I'll tell you what, mate, there's I probably shouldn't get started, but there's the big brands have got some decisions to make, and I was telling you this before. There's a lot caught on a bridge, right? Some of them haven't got the memo yet that it's there's still quite a few of the big brands that think it's a real favor to work with them because they're big brands. So they want you to do all of the work, work out, test the market, how to make money, how to become relevant again, and expect everybody to do all of the work, and you pay them for the right to use their name or whatever, which is interesting. And then the more progressive ones like your Adidas's and Pepsi's have come into the market and sort of said, we'll do profit share and work with somebody. And then there's the other group of people that are coming in saying, just give us the tools, we'll do it ourselves. I think it's a really interesting period, because the companies that are being built from the metaverse and the companies that are on the inside of the blockchain space are able to feel far more comfortable. They can build brands that speak to the communities in the crypto space much better than the big brands can. And realistically, I think a lot of the reason that people get so hyped when the big brands do come in is because of the fact that it's a big brand name and it might get a token rise in price, and that's what they're all cheering for. But yeah, I probably shouldn't say anything more than that, get in trouble. But ultimately, I think that I've said this before and I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it until it actually really becomes part of mainstream consciousness. But the big brands are going to be born out of the metaverse, and they're going to be born out of this movement. And the fast-moving legacy brands will get a slice of the pie, capitalise. They're going to have to re-win market share and re-win their audiences, because it's a different audience base. It's just my view, by the way. It's not endorsed by RFOX or anybody else. And then what will happen is that the slow-moving legacy brands that are saying, oh, there's blockchain and rah, they're going to get left out in the cold. That's my firm belief. Because if we are successful in the pursuit of blockchain and Web 3.0, realistically, how else can it happen? You're either in it and you're in it early and you take the advantages that go with being early, or you're late and you're shut out and you're irrelevant and you don't matter anymore. It's that simple. So I think it's a transition that the big brands need to learn, that you can't just go in there and say, I want $10 million for you to use my brand so you can do a launch and then earn nothing from it. It's more now about collaborative approaches, and the smart brands are trying to use those collaborations to learn how to do it themselves for the next drops. So yeah, there's a little bit of
they're still pretty hung up on the licensing model and upfront guarantees, which isn't suitable for this kind of collaborations or partnerships when they want to launch something like this now.
No, I think that brands like Adidas coming in and doing $23 million, and some of these other big brands coming in and doing big volumes, though, that's going to mean that the model changes fast, because now people are going to say, how much could I get from my stuff? And if you say 20 million and I'll go your halves, 10-10, for example, they'll go, shit, done, deal. You do all the work. Then that's a good deal for everybody, right? That's a great deal for everybody, let's be honest. But if they come to you and say, you have to put 5 million down and you're paying royalties on using my name, and you get 10%, some of these deals that people are signing, I won't mention names, but one of the blockchains would have to sell $200 million worth of NFTs to get their money back. 200 million. Like, it's not going to happen. I think it's just it's a bit mad at the moment, but I think that maybe next Wednesday we do a gen session and then I can actually do it. I really think.
I think there's going to be a lot more new brands that will overtake the legacy brands, or the ones which are well known simply because they existed in the metaverse first, and they dominate that space of all the new eyeballs that are there, and they will have the same, they will command the same kind of attention as those big other brands in the brick and mortar world.
100% will be bigger because the big brands are coming into this space because of the money and the hype and how easy it is to sort of capitalize on their positions. And these brands that actually are born in that, because anyone will tell you, you guys are token investors. You guys, a lot of you guys on this call tonight have been in the space for some period of time. You've seen scams, you've seen exit scams, you've seen rug pulls, predominantly groups of people that are not doxed teams that are underneath actually working for massive companies or corporations. Sometimes they're kicked in a basement, but the fact is you've seen it all, right? And the first 6 months in crypto is a baptism. It's like a mental torture, right? To try and learn how the hell this space works, why it works, how the hell anyone can possibly get ahead. You hear about all these people making all this money and you think, shit, I'm not making the same money that everybody else is talking about just yet. What am I supposed to do? And then people say, wait, see, there's different advice on how to navigate your way through the waters. But the fact is, these legacy companies coming into this space have a massive disadvantage, like a ginormous disadvantage. The brands that are actually born in this space, and it's not so much of a disadvantage as it will be a disadvantage later, but the brands that are born in this space know that they're tough. They know how to survive. They know how to appeal to these audiences, and they know how important it is to give people what they want. Otherwise, you just become irrelevant very quickly.
Yeah, cheers, Benny.
No problems. Like I said, I'm happy to go much deeper down that rabbit hole next week, but I'll probably get in trouble.
Yeah, when's Degen? Same time next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
How many bots people do you assume work for RFOX end of 2022? That cracks me up. We've got over 70 now, right, Pete?
Sorry, we got 75 bots.
75 bots. There you go. Server costs are killing us. So 75 bots. Actually, it's quite amazing because we've still got, like, I don't know what it is. King Cogs might know. I think we've still got like 14 open positions or something at the moment. And the issue is that you can't really bring people on sustainably, onboard them. Like we're still early enough to be onboarding, getting our onboarding process right. It's still got a lot to be desired and all the rest of it. And as I've said to you guys before, there's two different types of VCs and outside parties. One will say focus on one thing, do it well. The others will say you have to build everything. You have to build platforms because it's a new technology movement, and you don't know how that's going to pan out. And it's sort of the platform providers and the tool builders that do the best. So platform doesn't necessarily mean your own chain. Platform can mean exactly what we're building, a network and an ecosystem. So yeah, you need really good people, and thankfully we're attracting some really good people. Our new RFOX wallet's continuing to increase during this price drop. Can you talk about adoption of RFOX in Southeast Asia? One thing you can do is if you go to Etherscan or BSC Scan and you type in the ticker, this is the beautiful thing about blockchain, and you type in the ticker RFOX, I don't know if it does it on Etherscan, but it definitely does on BSC Scan. It'll tell you the wallet holder. Does it? I can't see the graph. I can't ever find it on Etherscan. People keep telling me, but I can't see it. On BSC Scan, there's an actual grid, like a rolling average on the right side, and it tells you how many new wallets you've got on a graph, a rolling average. Like, it's pretty bloody cool. But I don't. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, Pete, but I've never been able to find it. If someone on this call knows where to find that rolling graph, can you please tell me? Because I've spent hours looking for it. But if you go into BSC,
the graph, I got no idea. But you can just go to the holders tab and see how many holders.
No. I'm talking about if you go into BSC Scan right now and type in RFOX, it'll say holders 11,790, and it's got a little graph next to it, and it tells you It shows you 10th of December, 11th, 12th, and it shows you how many holders we've got. So let me just tell you, during this down dip, it's been at least 10 or 12 days. So we're going up, but very, very slowly. 1698, 738, 780, 790. So it is going up, but it's only going up by about 15, 20 wallets a day, which isn't huge.
The graph is not available on Etherscan. It's only available on BScan, but you can see the current holders.
Yeah. And VFOX is, I've been asked many times about VFOX, like how do you determine what's a good wallet uptake for VFOX? You can't, because people that buy VFOX, there's 2,438 wallet holders. People that buy VFOX, you should be measuring statistics on how many people are going into the farms or the pools. So we don't see that. And then also the centralized exchanges, we don't see how many wallets are on the centralized exchanges as well. But if you've got a baseline comparison and you're just comparing wallets, we are still increasing.
Yeah, so Benny, we got 1160 VFOX holders in the farm. Sorry, in the pool.
160.
1160. 1160.
Yeah, and 2438 outside. As far as how we're going in Southeast Asia, we're starting to see Southeast Asian countries really move up the ranks. Obviously, Philippines is dominating, but we've even seen non-Southeast Asian. We've even seen China start to creep up. I think China. When I checked yesterday, I think China was 4th. Oh, there you go. XP, tug. But gamers even complain about DLC, yet someone must buy DLC, otherwise DLC wouldn't exist.
I'm actually on the fence on that, because back in the day when you paid $60, that's the whole game and everything's in it, right? Now I think the way big studios monetize, because their development cost is so high, that $60 is not going to cut it. They will have to sell additional content, even though gamers expect it to be in the vanilla version in the first place. But if you look at other business models, like for example World of Warcraft, when you buy the box and you buy the subscription, the next time an expansion comes out, you still have to pay for it, even though you have a subscription to the game. So this kind of discussions, I think, have been very prominent in the gaming industry when it comes to people cutting up content and selling it as additional for the consumers to buy. But it really boils down to whether or not paying that extra will give you mileage in terms of entertainment and enjoyment when playing the game.
I'm 100% in RFOX. Do you think this is a good strategy for 2022? We can't provide financial advice or talk about price predictions, Ziggy, but I'll tell you one thing that is for sure and certain. I, on behalf of the company, would say, and I can safely say, you're not going to find a group of people that will work harder in the space. And everybody that comes behind the curtain says this is not normal for a crypto company to be having these types of meetings and this type of structure being put in place. I think what we're building is pretty bloody special, and I've been involved in turnarounds for a long, long time, for 20 years, and I can see what's coming together. It's significant. So all I can say is that you're not going to find a team that works harder, and I honestly believe that our model and our idea is so much more exciting than anything else that I see. I'd back us into the gates of hell. That's all I'm allowed to say, really. But yeah,
I'll be closely behind you.
You'll be what?
I'll be closely behind you, tailgating you.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Best thing I did this year was purchase a shop and find so many artists that have badass works and projects. I knew it would be a big deal, but this will be massive. Over 250 artist projects now. At the time, it was definitely a big risk, but I believe in the team and the fundamentals, and our community is absolutely the best crypto community I'm involved in. Nobody else even comes close. That's because of people like you, Josh, and there's a number of those people on this call tonight, and you know who you are for what you do. I've put a little message together for end of year, and that's something that I signal out, is that we've got such an amazing community that's been really, really patient. They've ridden the bumps and the ride with us. And as soon as we get near to releasing any project, I know, and you also know who you are, I get DMs like crazy, and we're trying to make sure that we funnel people to the right sections now, because I'm stretched too thin, and so is most of the team. But you guys are all asking, how do I get involved? How do I be part of it? How do I test it for you? Do you need people to help you sell it? Do you need help with design? Do you need help with... It's incredible. Like, everybody wants to get involved. Everybody wants to be part of it. Now, I'm speaking from a personal perspective. I've been in the space for a long time and traded for a long time. And if I was ever invested in projects before, I would never go into Telegrams, not after I got kicked out for talking about Neo and stuff, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time in the Telegram groups, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time in there because it was generally negativity and toxicity. And I thought, I'm confident in what I'm investing in, I don't need to be in those groups. But the fact is, we've got people that are in there because they actually care. I had no intention of ever using any of those products for most of those investments. I had no intention of it. And I know that for the vast majority of crypto investors, they don't have any intention of using the products either. So it actually shocks me. And sometimes when some of you reach out and say, hey, how can I get involved? I think to myself, are they trying to pull my leg, or are they being serious? But then when we give you guys a chance, we see how serious you are. And I'd also think that we'd have to have one of the projects that recruits the most people from the community as well, even though it's not a massive number. If you guys get a chance and we say, hey, you've got skills that we require, yeah, sure, come on, and we give people a chance, quite often within 6 months or so, we end up bringing those people on into the inner team. And that's a testimony to you guys putting your hands up. So we couldn't be more
Yeah, I think it's less than 6 months, Benny. I think for the leaderboard challenge, right after that, we offered Rene de Guzman, which was our top ranking player, and he joined us in a matter of like a week or so. And I think it's also good to see that our community members are not just made up of just speculators, right? There are people who are talented and experienced in different areas of business that can be brought on to strengthen us.
Bloody oath. And knowing the space, knowing the project is a huge help. There's actually a couple of people on this call tonight that are doing little bits and pieces with us at the moment that would be nice to see them come onto the full team. One for you, Fadz. How are you guys feeling about COGSLAM adoption rates, and are you on track for the tournaments in Q1 2022?
Yeah. So, Craigo, for Q1, the thing that we are focusing on is obviously we are going to get the iOS version out, so that's slated to be the first week of January. The client is being polished right now, so the first pass that we gave to Apple was approved, and then we're just putting in a guest mode for people to be able to play practice mode without logging in. I think it's doable within a few days or a week based on what we've discussed with Martin. So once we have the iOS version out, we have the Android version out, people can buy coins from the App Store to be able to go into the arena mode straight away and start earning NFTs. During that phase itself, there will be expansions into not just the Philippine market, but into the Indonesian market as well, and to other territories. The way we see it is there has to be some balance between the people who are going to be play to earn and the people who are going to be spending in the game to be able to earn those NFTs, because by design, those NFTs are not supposed to be sold on the primary market in any way. It's only available in the game. And if you don't have time to pay to play the game, you can always buy them off the people who are in the play to earn segment, who are generally able to sell those cogs because they keep grinding. This is actually not new, because we had it back in the day with MMOs as well, where people grind for an item because they have 15 hours to play that day, but somebody wants it, so they just buy it off the marketplace or auction house, right? So it's the same fundamentals as well. In terms of being on track for tournaments in Q1, definitely tournament is slated for Q1. The game mechanics as well as the way you use tubes to earn passive income is being confirmed, so we should be able to release somewhat of a summary of how that gameplay or game mechanic will look like. But the important thing to note is that that's when the first utility cases for tubes come in that don't involve you staking it for 90 days. And I think that will excite a lot of players in our community, as well as people who will start scooping up tubes in the marketplace, or even lose COGs on the marketplace to be able to make tubes to be able to earn some form of passive income when that feature is released. And it will be released in the first quarter based on what our discussions have been for the past couple of weeks on the roadmap for 2022.
Two for sure. Pineapple Pete and Jeff RFOX Ambassador. I like Jeff. He's good value. He's a good fella. Any signs of the NFT market coming back to life? Maybe if the lull continues, could shift back to NFTs. Yeah, it's an interesting question, Solid Gold, because I think that I think it's developing into these things move in cycles and trends, and it's exactly like the token market. There's a lot of garbage out there. People aren't working on it. They'll pop back up. Some of the zombie coins pump during bull runs, and same would be the NFTs. But the big interest coming in from the big brands seems to be the flavour of the month for sure, and that's bringing eyeballs back in. And you're noticing that if you have a look at some of the big wallets that buy NFTs and have done really well, they're going into projects that potentially could be blue chips, which means a floor of 10 ETH or above, and they're buying tons of ETH from NFTs from particular projects. And if you notice, like, obviously they're pretty poorly kept secrets as well, because what's that one called? Correct me if I get the name wrong. Rumble Kong League. They've got Steph Curry and a whole heap of big people behind them now. But if you have a look at those, they all started pumping days before anything was announced. All the big wallets were buying in, so you could tell something was coming. So I think it answers to your question, Solid Gold. If the market comes back, I think NFTs 100% will come back. But I think people are getting sick and tired of like shitty drops, like 20 drops a day. So they're going to say, what's the utility? What's the value? And it's good to see like Voxies and ones like that actually have games and are actually building. I think they have a token called Voxel that got listed on Binance and stuff. But, those guys were like screaming, pay attention to us. We're building. We've got a game. We're actually a real company. And I think they were 0.4 or 0.5 of an ETH per NFT, and then they've got noticed now, and now they're skyrocketing. So it's good to see that the good ones are actually getting picked up. Some people that are actually building stuff. The recent marketing videos look really sick. Are they externally produced? If so, would it make sense to build up those capabilities in-house for the RFOX Media venture? Are we putting you on the spot? Piyush, do you want to answer that? We do.
I'll give you an honest answer. First and foremost, thank you so much for liking them. It makes us happy that you appreciate the effort that's being put in. Are they externally produced? Honest answer, yes, they are. Would it make sense to build up those capabilities in-house in the future? To a certain extent, yes. Over a period of time, yes. We are working on many plans on how we can better optimize our own resources and create specialized resources in-house to be able to do things long-term. Having said that, I'm a firm believer of getting work done where the best talent is. So we might think that there are some specific skills that we might want to have in-house, but at the same time, a lot of times it makes sense to outsource certain things simply because there are people who are better at doing it than what you could eventually do. And I come from a film production background of sorts, right? I used to work at a movie production house, one of the biggest ones in Bollywood, and every time we would make a movie, and we would make a goddamn movie on our own, and then we would go find someone to make the best trailer for us, simply because the skill set required to do that one trailer was so vastly different than making the movie, right? So from that perspective, in a nutshell, we are looking at various permutation combinations, but we are happy that you like them, and we do have some more stuff coming out in air quotes soon enough, so please keep an eye out for that.
Thank you, Piyush. Did Fadz answer this because RFOX Games can make a game? Oh, that was the question in relation to will there be a strategy game for RFOX Games, Fadz?
Yeah, well, I don't want to let this slip out too early, but some of the concepts that are being proposed to us by our internal development team through Martin, as well as external one, includes things like tower defense games, an RPG game as well. So all of them will have cogs being used as in-game assets or even consumables. There's a lot of different game mechanics that will greatly expand the utility cases of cogs beyond Slam, right? So as we mentioned before, Slam was supposed to be an easy way for you to get into the ecosystem because it's a way for you to earn coins and NFTs for free. But those games, which are bigger and more complex, are not free to play. You are required to have cogs to be able to do some of the things or participate in some of the content. So there's nothing stopping us from partnering with a guy who do something like a MOBA, and then for them to be able to enter a match or something like that, you need to probably burn a common cog or something if it's a competitive mode. So all these things are being rolled out next year. It's just easier for us to explain it game by game instead of giving you how it works like in the whole ecosystem, because once you start to see how the cogs are being used and how the tubes are being used, then it should start to click in your head on how the scarcity model works, how the collections works, and how the tubes basically will benefit people who are early investors or those who got it at a very early stage, right? Our intent is to make sure the floor price keeps going up for all the cogs, because as I think we've said this many times, there will not be enough cogs or tubes when the market comes in, and when we start pushing utility cases for those tubes for gameplay, not just for additional features. Like actually playing a tower defense requires you to have a tube completed before you can actually have a tower or be able to trade those cogs for a special tower in the game. Then you see them as just graphical NFTs. They actually have value beyond the designs and scarcity.
Thanks, Fadz. Appreciate the opportunity to be an ambassador with such amazing people. Lucky. Yeah, we're the lucky ones. Doesn't hurt to have the first 25 cogs. Haven't heard that for a while. I had zero clue my year would go the way it has. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about the world, isn't it? Couldn't agree more. XP, I feel very fortunate to be working so close to this awesome team. Thanks, Zuby. Great to have you on board as well. XP, every time I see that photo of you, I think of Reinhard.
Oh yeah, you guys are keeping me young, that's for sure.
Yeah. Here we go. Season 1 cogs have low sale. People are crazy with their prices. Really? Oh, I'm going to check. By the way, if you sign up for Crypto Pro... Oh, sorry, go.
Yeah, that's the thing, Hanford. Like, people need to understand the value of the cogs. You can send them to be $1 million, but if nobody buys them, then you have to moderate your price. I think the same thing happened for second edition and third edition as well, especially with the low mints. But it will regulate itself, right? If people actually want to earn income from those NFTs, then basically they need to sell them at a reasonable price. But I'm betting when the second game comes out, people won't be selling the cogs they're earning because they need tubes for themselves as well. But let the market decide for themselves, Hanford. It's not something we control. We can't stop a guy who goes into arena and gets a cog and decides to sell it for $500. We can't stop him from doing that. What he's going to realize is that nobody's going to buy it at that price, so he has to moderate the price until the floor becomes reasonable.
I know I'm just whining a little bit because I wouldn't mind picking some up, but it's like you go on there and they want $5 for a number 56 common or anything single digit mint is like $150 or more. It's like it just drives me crazy because I would like to get some, start working on my tubes.
Well, the thing is, you can advise them. I mean, a lot of the new players coming into the community don't know the economics behind COGS and understanding what drives the value up, because somebody might get a foil and don't think that much of it because there's no price history and decides to sell it for $2, right? So observing the marketplace is actually a good exercise at this moment, because there's COGS being minted for people who are playing the arena modes, and some of them don't understand the value of what they're earning, whereas on the other side of the fence is the people who think too highly of the COGS they're earning without understanding what drives the price, right? So it's a good opportunity for them to learn as well. A lot of these people are new to our ecosystem. They've never had COGS before in their wallets. It's their first time play to earn people, and they want to see what is the baseline in which how their COGS can translate into money for themselves. So I'm sure the period right now is all trial and error. They're just testing the waters. But once people get smart around it and they want to cash out for play to earn outside of just from the coins and base it off the value of the COGS they get in arena, then it will moderate itself to something a bit more reasonable. I expect it to be commons a few dollars, and then it starts going up to all those ultra rares and stuff to be much more than that, because I think that's a reasonable price for people who are trying to complete sets at this point in time. But I don't agree that it should be sold for a few $100s once it comes out into the market. I think it should be regulated. Probably give it like a month. Once iOS comes out, which is, like I said, first week of January or so, then I think there'll be more people who are earning COGS, and then the price will start to fluctuate because they observe, somebody had the exact same COG as me, but they sold it at $20, whereas I thought my COG would be worth $400. That's why I didn't move. So just give it some time.
Oh, there's one for you, Piyush Joker. Recently, Bollywood star, I'll stuff up this name.
I'll read this out. Hi, Piyush. Recently, Bollywood star Amitabh Bacchhan, who's, by the way, one of the biggest, film stars here in India.
I knew that.
Career for what, I don't know, some 60, 70 years or something now. Launched his NFTs, which was a big success here in India. Do you see any potential NFTs launches of any Bollywood stars like Sharukh or Hrithik using RFOX platform? They have massive following here in India. Or maybe something related to cricket. You're absolutely right. These guys are absolutely massive and humongous around the world, and not just in India. The possibilities are, of course, endless. The potential always exists. But that's all I can say about it at this point.
People be like, I need that COG, but don't want to pay much for it. That's how the thing works right now. Yep, 100%. Last check, there was less third edition collectors starter packs than first edition starter packs still unopened. Really? We should get an update on that.
I don't
No,
think that includes the
you
boxes.
You need to include the packs that hasn't come out from boxes and mega chests.
Yeah. Which is a fair bit. There is a Galaxy S21 bug for CogSlam where the game can't be downloaded and the app can't work on that phone Android version any time frame on when the patch will come out to fix it.
Yeah, Martin has already been looking into the Pixel and specifically S21 for some reason. We believe it could be because of the new Android version that has been patched. So we are still taking a look at it at this. If you are on S21, we might reach out to you and figure out how you can help us. We have another teammate in our company as well who's facing the same problem with the S21. Martin, based on what he says, is that it looks like on the surface level there shouldn't be a problem, but I think it's the new patch that came out that is causing a bit of issue for some of the other hardware that we're seeing in the market. We should have more news for you in the first week of January at this.
Tik TikTok was the #1 domain this year. Are short entertaining clips being considered for use in RFOX Media and in addition to longer stream shopping? Would you like to, again, answer that, Piyush, or would you like me to?
Benny, my answer to this would be there's only as many cats we can let out of the bag at this stage. We are considering all kinds of possibilities at this stage, but we'll be able to come back to you with something more concrete about what our exact plans are in the near future. Benny, but I think you might be able to give a better answer to this one.
I was just going to say that what we offer and what we consider might be two different things, but there has been lots and lots of conversations around TikTok short form entertainment streaming, the longer forms. There's even been talks around how you combine the two of those things together as well. It's definitely, we've got the right people in the right rooms to be talking about what is the most viable. And now it's a matter of just, as Piyush says, waiting to roll that stuff out. But again, as you know, with us, if we're trying to capitalize on a current trend, that's not our modus operandus. It's more about what do we think is going to come next and what do we think is going to be the right area to play in. But yeah, TikTok's been phenomenally successful, hasn't it? I remember seeing so many people say TikTok is a flavor of the month. It's not going to work. It's garbage. Doesn't hold people's attention. I don't think they realize people don't really have much attention spans. It's actually perfect. It's super successful. No matter if you like it or hate it, you can't deny that it's amazingly successful.
Can I go on a little bit of rant on that one, Benny? And you know why
Sure.
that was? Because, and coming from an emerging economy and market myself, I saw the rise of TikTok and these short form video apps across countries and geographies and territories, and that was largely because a huge part of the markets and humans were underserved, right? Everything that Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, for example, was one of the biggest content streaming picture apps. However, everything that you saw in the market catered to a particular audience. It catered to a particular class of audience, right? What apps like TikTok did, they democratized the entire ecosystem. They gave voice to these people in emerging economies who had just started using 4G and 3G and data plans, right? So what it eventually ended up doing was giving voice to people who didn't really have a voice. And from a socio-economic standpoint, that was what led to this massive surgence of huge some number of people coming onto these apps, and which was absolutely incredible because the people who you didn't think were able to be sell themselves or the products or have a name for themselves and have this kind of following stood up and said, watch us out and see how far we can go when we're given an opportunity. So TikTok was that opportunity that was given to them, and that's why it did that well. And it's a huge lesson for every corporation, every media company, to never overlook an underserved TG.
I think my
Absolutely.
favorite one, at least from India, was the construction worker that had his own huge base of following, because I think that was not possible 10 years ago for someone who works in a construction site to have a few 100,000 followers in his community, right? Because they were never given the tools or the platform to be able to do so. And I think TikTok just bridges that gap because you can make entertaining content that is half a minute long. Doesn't take much time out of your day, and you can still have a large base of following. So this kind of evolution is one primarily based on the attention span of the target market, which you're right, Piyush. People just don't want to listen to a 10-minute video. But it also makes the content creator feel a lot less requirements to come out with content instead of having a studio or like a webcam setup and stuff. No?
You're right. It absolutely democratizes it, and that's the best part.
100%. I think we're nearly out of time, so just let's do this one, and then I'm going to wish you all a Merry Christmas. So, who will be able to join the PC VR closed beta in Q1? is it for marquee and shop owners in coming over to set up shop and test it all out? I don't know what we're allowed to say about that yet, Piyush. I don't want to get in trouble for saying the wrong thing.
Say nothing. Just say Merry Christmas.
Actually, Pete is right. Just say Merry Christmas.
It wouldn't be much fun that way, though, would it? But yeah. So what I will say is, thank you very, very much for supporting us and for taking the time each week to come out and chat with us. We value this very much and love it. I've been part of this. It's been an amazing year, ups and downs in the world in general. But you guys are the lifeblood of the project, and we thank you very, very much for taking time out of your schedules each week to be here with us and to ask us questions. Hopefully we can answer them well enough for you, but I think the most important thing that we will realise is that 2022 has been set up for us because 2021 has been build, grow the team that we need, and now with all the products dropping right around the corner and having the team to support them and having those guys hit their straps from being here for a while, it's going to be a massive 2022. This is our year for sure. So be safe. Hopefully you all get time to spend with your families if you're able to see them or travel. But most importantly, be safe, be healthy, and don't look at the screens all the time. Hey, don't degen the whole time. But we need you back here with the support next year. And again, can't do any of this without you guys. I'll hand over to the other guys to say a few words, or anybody else who wants to say anything. But what a ride. It's only starting, and I know that you guys know how big this is going to be and how much we're putting behind this to make this a success. So thank you very, very much for everything that you do for us.
Benny said I can, lay off the screen, so yeah, you guys won't be seeing me for some time.
I just want to thank the community for all the love and support you've given us since day one. It's been a slow and fast year at the same time, because the thing is, like, we started off with a very lean team, and then we grew it to something which is going to be a proper company with all the departments in place, roadmaps, product rollouts. So it was a joy to be able to put everything into place and work with people who are extremely passionate and dedicated to the cause. So I look forward to re-engaging with you guys again in January, and then share with you more of the plans we have and the different product rollouts that we're going to start delivering.
Cue the bongos.
Cue the bongos.
Thank you, buddy. Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas, Fadz, and all your families. And thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great, great Christmas.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys. Merry Christmas. But I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Merry Christmas, everyone.